Hello, nerds! Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom Movies edition for the week of March 12th, 2018. This week in movies, we're talking Shazam. We've all seen the leaked suit, so we're definitely going to talk about that. We're talking Lovecraft Country. We're talking about the new Joker origin movie we've talked about, but there's new stuff coming out about it. So much is going on. Let's hit the intro real quick.
Quiet on the set. Rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Before we jump into the news, guys, we have to hit up the sponsor. This week, every episode is being sponsored by the General Lee Nerdy shirt over on punishshirt.com. Looks a little something like this. You can go buy one if you so desire. It is $20 approximately, just short. Or you can enter to win one. How do you enter to win one? Well, there are 4 different ways to enter. First, subscribe to the YouTube channel and then leave a comment on one of the videos that it has something to do with the contest. In order to enter, just let me know, hey, free t-shirt, say something about the shirt in your comment. Or you can message me directly on YouTube if you don't want to make a public comment. That is totally fine. You can also follow me on Facebook. Facebook.com/generallynerdy is where you can do that. Once you have followed me on Facebook, then again, comment on one of the posts that has something to do with the contest or send me a direct message. It's totally fine if you want to keep your stuff private. That is the second way to enter the contest. The third way is Instagram, instagram.com/generallynerdy or @generallynerdy if you are already on the platform or if you're one of those crazy smart kids with the smartphones. Follow me on Instagram, send me a direct message letting me know that you have done so, or comment on a post that has to do with the contest, post where I mention the contest in the post description. And then the final way to enter the contest is to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/generally_nerdy or @generally_nerdy is where you can do that. Once you have done that, then again, reply to one of the posts about the contest or send me a direct message. And with any one of these ways to enter, instead of sending me a message through that platform, you can always send me an email, Dustin@generallynerdy. Once, in order to enter that way, though, you must include a screenshot of the platform on which you have subscribed or followed. If you have multiple platforms that you subscribed and followed and you're entering through email, then you have to include multiple screenshots. In order to win, you must be a U.S. resident. All of the contest rules are in the description, but good luck. Again, we are giving away 2 of these shirts, and the contest will be done April 2nd at noon. So you have until April 2nd to get all 4 of your contest entries in. We already have multiple people entered, so your chances are growing slim as the days go by. Thank you guys, and now let's jump into the news. Okay, first on the list, we're talking Zorro. We are getting a new reboot of the movie, of the character, I guess is probably more appropriate, because it's always a different character, right? It's always a different person holding the name Zorro, and that's kind of the mythology behind the character. The new movie is called Z, and this is the first time they're going to be casting a female as Zorro. She's going to have Gail Garcia Bernal is going to be playing her mentor, who in this version of the mythology very possibly could be the original Zorro or just another standard bearer of the name. And together, their enemy this time is corporate. So it sounds like it's going to be a little bit more updated, a little more of a recent style than period piece. So that's pretty interesting. we're gonna talk about Shazam at the end of the episode. I feel like it's next on the list, but that deserves the bottom. So next, then, that puts us on to Lovecraft Country. So I feel like horror movies don't get enough love these days, and I don't think that's undeserving. It's largely due to the fact that most of them suck. But here is this new movie has potential. It's Lovecraft Country, or it's a novel adaptation. The novel was written by Matt Ruff. Executive producers are Jordan Peele and J.J. Abrams. So Jordan Peele gave us Get Out last year, which, despite your politics, it was still a decent movie. It was like we talked about when it originally came out. It was like a really good episode of the Twilight Zone. So this movie is going to be a man and his army vet nephew are looking for his missing father somewhere out in New England. It's going to be Jim Crow era America. So there's going to be all kinds of race stuff going on, which in that era, I feel like will play a lot better than if they were trying to put it in modern day and still play the same race cards. So a little torn, judging from the early release stuff that I've seen so far, it looks like there's potential for this to be great. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get past the politics. Who knows? I am definitely gonna check it out once it comes out, and there is no release date or anything for it yet, no casting announcements, but it's gonna be worth it. I feel like it's gonna be worth the conversation, if nothing else. Next up, we're talking about The Joker. This has been on a lot of people's tongues recently. Slight update from what we talked about last time. Joaquin Phoenix is officially in negotiations for the role. So essentially, he's just trying to get money out of them because he's already said he's going to do it, and they've already asked him to do it, and so that part's understood. So now it's just, well, I think I should get this much, and they say, we think we should give you that much, and then back and forth. I obviously have never worked in Hollywood, so I don't know exactly how that goes, but so there's the update. But then there was a little bit of an announcement that the script that they have is going to be a little Killing Joke-ish. They're going to focus on, they're going to draw parallels between one of Scorsese's early 80s movies. I don't remember the name of the movie, and I didn't write it down because it's not super relevant, but it has to do with a failed comedian. And so there's going to be parallels between that, and that is the origin that we get from The Killing Joke. So perhaps this could be a quasi-live-action adaptation of The Killing Joke, where Christopher Nolan's trilogy borrowed heavily from Long Halloween, and then the current Batman with Ben Affleck borrowed pretty heavily from Batman Returns. This is probably going to be something along those lines, in that it's going to borrow super heavily from Killing Joke while not being a proper Killing Joke adaptation, is kind of what it sounds like. It's going to take place in the 80s, so it would make sense that they would have gone with Leto as the Joker, but I don't know. They're doing this Elseworlds thing, and I feel like Joaquin Phoenix will be a very interesting Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is a really good actor, and I feel like someone of his ability trying to tackle this character is going to be a unique take on it. Instead of trying to do a variation of something we've done before, Joaquin's going to make the character his. That's kind of how I feel that's going to happen. But we won't know until it comes out. And it hasn't come out yet. So, we're moving on. Next up is a real quick update on the Bloodshot movie. We talked about it last week. Vin Diesel's going to be playing Bloodshot in the movie. The update is they have a screenwriter now for the script. Eric Heisserer. I can't pronounce the last name. I think he might be French because, the director was French. But anyway, the director of The Arrival. He was the screenwriter. Sorry. He was the screenwriter for The Arrival. So because that was directed by a French director, I feel like this last name might be French. That's where my mind was. But yeah, Eric H., who wrote The Arrival, is also writing the script for Bloodshot, starring Vin Diesel. So that's really interesting because The Arrival executed almost perfectly on every freaking level. The screenwriter from that movie now doing a superhero movie, I feel like, again, we're going to get a very interesting, unique take on the genre. And then it's going to get in the hands of Vin Diesel, and then everybody's going to go, but it's Vin Diesel. I don't know. I feel like there is definitely a strong potential that this movie will be worth a watch. And this, I'm going to throw this one over to you there, Marty. Did you watch The Arrival, Captain? I don't like modern cinema. Did you watch The Arrival, and what did you think? We can talk about that in the comments or over on the Patreon, whichever you prefer. But yeah, that's the end of the Bloodshot update. Next, we're moving over to Spider-Man 2 Homecoming. This is another update from about a month ago. We were talking about it. The sequel to Homecoming. It's not Homecoming 2. It's the sequel to Homecoming. That hashtag show who broke the casting announcement last time for the European female. Now there's a little bit more information that's come out about that casting call. So we know that very potentially it's going to be Jessica Drew, who is also known as Spider-Woman, or possibly it could be Silver Sable, judging by the new description of the casting call. Both of these things make sense on different levels. So if it's Silver Sable, then it's going to be, that makes sense because the Silver and Black movie that's coming out, there could be a tie-in there, so then that would then lend a little bit more development story-wise to that movie, and also attach it to the universe, right? So that makes sense if they were going that way. Or Sony is just trying to capitalize on their new connection with Disney Marvel, and they're trying to grow their universe as fast as possible so that they can possibly get more people in to watch. And so it's going to be Spider-Woman then, Jessica Drew, for that reason. So both things are super plausible. As things progress, we will definitely be keeping our ears open for that. Next, we are talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi again. We are getting very, very, very close to the Blu-ray release of the movie. Couldn't find the release date. I'm sure by the time this goes up, I will have found the release date, so that'll be in the description. Also in the description, you will find a link to a cut scene. They cut half of this scene. It's the fight between Phasma and Finn, and it's literally a minute and a half long before we get when we get from one side to the other, and on the other side, that's where it connects to the footage we've already seen from the movie. So I don't understand why this got cut. This would have done a little bit. It definitely wouldn't have saved it from fan criticism, but this would have done a little bit to at least assuage the criticism of Phasma in this movie, because this would have, it gave her more interaction with Finn. It gave her a leg up on Finn. It gave her it showed more of her weakness and exposed that weakness to existing characters. And yeah, so very strange that this got cut because of its length and because of its potential to help develop a seriously underdeveloped character. So it just seems weird. But yeah, again, link in the description. Let's talk about it if you want to. I don't know if there's much else to say about it besides what I've already said, but I could be wrong. And then the last bit that we're going to talk about, I've already kind of briefly mentioned it, is the Shazam pictures that we've all been seeing with Zachary Levi in the suit. So I've heard a lot of arguments that are trying to give them benefit of the doubt. And I will still give them a little of that benefit of the doubt in that potentially there could be a CG save for this. Some of those arguments compare this suit to Henry Cavill's Superman suit, where they have painted on the muscles. And I feel like this is a little different. Some of the arguments have to do with, well, he's a kid, so they're potentially going to be doing this like a cartoon, and that makes sense. If you haven't seen the pictures, I'll find them and they'll be floating on the screen. They have padding in the muscles, in the chest, and I feel like all of these pads are excusable except for the abs. Like, you make his chest gigantic, so then the suit has to then stretch over the abs. So in order to see the abs, you have to make the abs even more gigantic, which then make him look freaking ridiculous. You didn't have to do those abs. It could have just went flat because the chest was so big. It seems... If they're trying to do a campy, quasi-80s style movie, then it'll work. It'll be absolutely great. If they're trying to tap into this dark kind of sense that they've established so far in the DC Extended Universe movies, then it's going to fail utterly. And that is where we have to end today's episode. What did I miss, guys? What should we talk about next week? Definitely let me know in the comments down low. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. You can get a little deeper in the conversation. You can find links to the stores and get all the merch. You can find the social media links. You can find all the freebies up at generallynerdy.net. Or if you want to become a direct supporter, then patreon.com/generallynerdy is the only place to do that. Just $1 a month gets you on, and you become even more a part of this conversation. If you are falling behind on your nerd news, you want to catch up, click or tap that box to the left of my face to do that. But before you go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.